I'm Catherine Ross, and I'm here live from the NYC with Jim Cramer. Jim, let's kick it off by going unfiltered.
Yeah, well, top of mind for me is that senior growth, whether it be Procter, whether it be Nike, whether it be McDonald's, is loved. But growth of the technology kind, like Salesforce that rang the bell today with Mark Hawkins, who's a very good guy, you can't get any traction. You can't get any traction in United Health, but you can get traction in Walmart, okay? You can't get traction in what I would describe as being our cloud kings like Adobe, but you can get traction for Target. This is going on now. It's been going on for a while. It's a sea change, and it's why, and we'll talk about it, why I'm worried about the Peloton deal, because it's out of fashion with the run we're seeing in the McDonald's, in the Nikes, and in the Proctors and the Walmarts.
So I do want to get to Peloton, but first, your Real Money column this morning, President Trump has hinted that a China deal could be close, but you said that you're only excited nowadays when an earnings report does not mention China.
Yeah, I mean, look, the problem is that there are enough people who think that the president lies like a rug, that the moment he says something about China, they get very suspicious and they don't like it. And then there are other people who think that Trump is, whatever he says is right, and they go buy the stock, and if they don't get it, they sell the stock. So let's just avoid those battlegrounds, for heaven's sake. My sources indicate that we're nowhere near a trade deal, and that the president says that because he's an optimist or because he's trying to deflect. I'm really sick of talking about Trump because I find that a lot of times it has nothing to do with the stock market. Periodically it does, and that's the endless, we're about to have a trade deal. And that's going on so many times that I just don't want people to get hurt. That's what I'm kind of interested right now, is trying to get people from not being hurt.
So let's step away from politics and let's just ask, is now the time for underdog stocks?
For underdog?
Yeah.
Well, I think that it is the time for companies that have good growth, that have big buybacks, that have some dividend, that are not sensitive to the economy, and that are not sensitive to China. There's your pill. That's your funnel.
All right, so today we have another unprofitable IPO hitting the market, Peloton. Jim, you've said again and again that this is just an IPO overflow. So is Peloton coming to market? Proof of that?
So Peloton does have an ecosystem. It is part of the subscription economy. It is growing like mad, but it's unprofitable. So, Catherine, when I come back and say, in another market, like the one before Uber, this would deservedly be very high. But one of the things that I talk about that the people on Twitter, many of them are too obtuse to realize, is that I look at what's going on in the environment that can impact the stock, not just the stock. And this company has all the characteristics of something you wanted to buy in February, March, April, and less of the ones that you want to buy now. So that's why it's dangerous to chase. Now, those who think that I'm saying that Peloton's no good, you're wrong. I make jokes that my wife hangs clothes on Peloton, but a lot of people love Peloton. That's not the point. The point is that a fast-growing company that loses money is not what this market wants. I mean, that's what we saw from WeWork. If DoorDash were to come public today, and I'm sure they're soon, that's what you would hear. So I'm just reacting to how the market is reacting. Peloton's a great company, but the stock is not ultimately what the market wants. So people are too excited, okay? They're too excited. And I'm just trying to make it so that the excitement is more toward Home Depot, McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, Nike, where I feel like the valuations are good, and I'm not worried about losses.
I agree with that. I mean, look at Peloton. Prior to even trying to IPO, the private valuation was $4.1 billion. Now it's $8 billion.
Yes, why? And that's because there's too much enthusiasm, right? I mean, what else? What else has happened at Peloton? Is Allie still there? I don't know. Peloton runs ads constantly. The ads are fabulous. Many people at Peloton. When I bought my wife bought the subscription, it was definitely something that she loved initially. Then she got tired of, and she is my wife Lisa was the actually people didn't know this, but she was at 14 was the champion in New York State for bicycle in the velodrome. She was champion. So she likes to go back to spin class because she likes the camaraderie. The camaraderie of Lori Bebout's class is a good teacher that she likes. So, I mean, I'm not, and, there's people on Twitter, geez, people are so stupid sometimes. There's people on Twitter who say, Cramer says, don't buy Peloton because his wife uses it as a clothes rack. There's a thing called humor, and there's a thing called drama, and Shakespeare really had some great stuff if you want to go and look at the comedies. Dynamite Guy, apparently really cool. And I'm from that school, and I just urge people that maybe read a book, understand what traditional narrative is, maybe take a course in English literature, and you'll know where I'm coming from. Otherwise, I don't want to call you stupid or a moron or a chowderhead. Those are harsh words. I just say you're uninformed and you're ill-advised. What can I do? Look, I'm a creature of writing. I was a writer. I am a writer. I love the great works.
You are a writer.
I love the great literature. And the things that I'm using are what I learned from my years of studying Tolstoy. I'm not a hack. I didn't go to college to get stupid.
All right, so speaking of your writing, last night you penned a column on TheStreet.com, not on Real Money, about cannabis. So,
Yeah.
Jim, based on that column, are we going to see a bottom in cannabis
Well,
stocks?
I think that let's follow the narrative of the killing force that is Juul. If Phil Altria mistakenly put a lot of money in Juul, and then just like SoftBank created a new valuation by putting, billions into Juul, that was obviously ill-advised in retrospect. Because it hadn't, you've got a new fella who runs the FDA and he realizes that Gottlieb should have gone after them. That's okay. I like Dr. Gottlieb. But, I just think that now what should they do? They should turn their attention toward cannabis. Cannabis is still being approved all over the place. It's obviously has, there's been claims that are wrong about cannabis. It's not a cure-all, but the stocks have been plummeting down to levels that are well below where really smart companies like Constellation got involved. And Constellation's got a war chest. And I do believe that cannabis is going to be, it's not going to disrupt what I thought it was going to, because we have a president and an attorney general that doesn't want it to. But I just think that we're getting to the point where, other than Tilray, which I'm not that crazy about, where you can start looking at those at a Kronos. Kronos did some things that I'm not crazy about. And they bought a company that I love, Lord Jones, but the CEO was in a fund that had stake in Lord Jones. It wasn't quickly disclosed after. You can find things wrong with all these stocks. But I do believe that a Kronos at a certain place with Lord Jones is worth it. Lord Jones being a brand that people recognize. Now, but they're all being hurt by vaping. And if you can find one that doesn't have a lot of vaping, or can be proved as being the company that has the Good Housekeeping seal of Canada for vaping, those stocks might be good now. When I had GW Pharma, which is the real medical company, I had them on, and then I got pushed back from an investor, well, actually a short seller, who said, look, you got to read this report. I documented the report, and then I called the guy who wrote the report, and he gave me the Heisman. He was, I thought, offensive and belligerent, and all I wanted to do was hear more, because GW Pharma has been able to refute some of the things that he said. When I hear someone in my face telling me he doesn't need to speak to me, it better be Bob Haldeman, who did that to me when he got out of prison, and he was one of Nixon's henchmen. It's the only time I ever accepted it, and this guy is not Haldeman.
All right, and Jim, at 10:45 this morning, we are going live on bullmarketfantasy.com for your Thursday show.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about this. I went on Hanson's show this morning. Everybody knows John Hanson on XM, and we talked about what Hanson likes the show, and I like Hanson's show. And when you get Hanson's good housekeeping seal of approval, you're doing something right. We are starting to make waves with this show because we're coming up with really good names. This is not a show where it says, and if you have Dalvin Cook, I would play him. This is about finding pink sheet names, literally pink sheet names that you should be bullish on. It's about who to short. It's about who's going from hold to buy. It is about who you feel like could be the next growth stock. It's all of that. Who can pay dividends. It's a way to figure out who you should be bullish on and who you should be bearish on. We speak the language of Wall Street, so it'll really help you.
And we've got the Packers Maven on, which I'm excited to see since they're going head-to-head with Eagles.
The Eagles have more on the line, obviously, because they don't want to go 1-3. The Pack is really good this year. Their defense is good. I have Exxon Valdez Scanling, who is their fastest guy. He's their burner. I don't have Rodgers. The question that I'm going to talk about on Bull Market Fantasy is, should I play Wentz? I've got 3 quarterbacks on my roster. We're going to answer that question.
All right, guys, so tune in on bullmarketfantasy.com at 10:45 this morning.
And remember, I'm not crazy about the market, okay? We have one of the highest cash positions. We didn't buy anything yet.
Well, you got to say that for Action Alerts Plus.
What?
You got to tell.
Well, no, but I'm just telling people that they should go listen to my Action Alerts video, because I'm going to talk about why I'm uneasy about this market.
There we go. All right, so now we're heading over to Action Alerts Plus for our daily rundown show. Head on over to actionalertsplus.com. I'm Catherine Ross, and I'll see you tomorrow.